Another development paradigm that I feel like you've coined really well is that there is two types of people that can really be successful in leadership, but they show themselves in very different ways. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I call it stars and sleepers, because I think when we're development requires people to develop, so we're always looking for people for our teams, for our organizations, and stars are those people that you just see them a mile away. They're obvious, they're bright and shiny, they're doing great things right in front of you. They're usually loud, if you will, good communicators, and then there's, and they get taken up pretty quickly, if you will. Yeah. It's everybody.
They're easy to see.
You're not the, and obviously if you're within the same organization, but organization to organization, somebody's going to find that person pretty quickly. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think the biggest opportunity is what I call sleepers. And I think in a way we're, I'll say it for myself, maybe for you guys as well. Like, I'm not sure with the way I'm wired that I would be that star that would walk into a room and just be extremely articulate and light up the room. But I feel like I have something to bear on leadership and can accomplish things. I might do it in a different way. And right. So I might not be on a leader's radar screen or somebody like me. And that's why, these things are all obviously personal experiences. And so I've really had great success building a lot of teams with people that other people haven't seen. Because those people are typically in an organization, they are finding something really important and, throwing themselves into it and very dedicated over in the corner of the organization. And oftentimes we don't see that. We just see the fruit from what's happening.
Right.
So I think there are ways to adjust your radar, start looking in different places and having a different measure of your assessment of somebody who has a lot of current capacity and future potential as a leader. So it just takes an adjustment of mindset, and then where am I looking for those people, and how would I understand that hidden potential? Because it's hidden, so it's more difficult to harvest.
Right. One of the things you talk about is there's probably more sleepers than there are stars.
Yes.
As you hear that paradigm, we've talked about it. How do you peel that back and say, okay, what do I do with the difference between a star and a sleeper? How do I enhance the opportunity, if there's more sleepers, to really resource them for ministry?
Yeah, I think it starts with finding people who are hungry, are teachable. That's the foundation. If you don't have those things, it's really hard to develop you at all.
Yeah.
So when I'm identifying people who have those qualities, you can work with that. I mean, there's a lot that you can do with somebody who is hungry, somebody who wants to learn, somebody who asks good questions. A lot of times when it comes to a sleeper, as another, sleeper in the room, I think that there's so much value in a leader who can come alongside and speak belief and vision into that person's life.
Yeah.
To have somebody come and say, I see something in you that you may not have seen in yourself yet. That may just be the match that lights them up, that sets them on a whole new path. And you may have to do that more than once. You may have to remind them, because a lot of times that person, they don't have the magnetism maybe of a star.
Right.
So they may be lacking in confidence, and they may need someone who can just help them see themselves a little bit differently, help them step into a different level of assurance about the things that God has put inside of them.
Yeah.
And once you get them started, there's no telling where they can go.
Well, I think that's such a good point, because, we talk about in the Bible, almost every great leader is what I would call a reluctant leader, right? It's step one, you get the call. Step two, run as fast as you can.
The other direction.
Right? Whether it's,
Jonah, Moses,
make a list.
Right.
It's almost, and I have done this, like it's almost impossible to find somebody that stepped up.
Right.
And part of that is, I think, is a really good thing, because in God's wisdom, it's like oftentimes when we're, training, especially with young leaders, there's what do you want to be when you grow up? It's like, I want to be a leader. And it's like, I really believe most leadership comes from there's some obstacle or some really big thing that's coming against a group of people. Somebody needs to step up and help solve the problem and lead them through an impasse. And so somebody reluctantly steps up. If you're reluctant to raise your hand, it also means that it's not about you. Because if you have to be the leader and you're just looking for something or someone to lead, that tends to go back, like the performance reflects on my leadership, so we need to do this because it's a reflection. Where if I'm just kind of reluctantly stumble across something that nobody else seems to have the expertise or the grit to help and step up, then typically those leaders are less likely to fall with ego and all those. And there's nothing wrong with volunteering to be a leader, but I think a lot of great leaders come out of that reluctancy, and we sometimes stereotype them as, well, you really got to want it. Like, why would I try to talk somebody into it? And it's not about begging them to come do something. It's what you said exactly, which is, I'm a product of somebody came to me and said, I think you got something in you. And I was just looking around, just admiring all the people I worked with, thinking how smart they were and what great leaders there were. And I didn't have a clue that I could maybe be a part of that. I was just happy to be there and happy to help. And it's like that lit something inside of me, was the word you said. And that's exactly my story. Right. And again, you know, I'm not bragging about it, but it's like I've had a pretty good run at having great mentors and just being built, and that might not have happened without those first couple people that kind of lit that candle and brought a recognition to it.
I think there's this dynamic, is that if I was shining bright before I was with you, I'm gonna feel and know that I'm gonna shine bright far past my time with you. Yeah. But there's something about, if you find me and you invest in me and you give me that confidence, there's an endearment, there's a loyalty, there's a commitment to the fact that you actually saw more in me than I ever saw in myself. So of course I'm gonna endear myself to you and support the mission that we're on together. Whereas I think you say this at times when we talk about this, is stars burn bright, but they burn out quick.
Sometimes,
and sometimes it's like, because they take a lot of the air in the room, you know? And so, and everybody's clamoring for those people. But if you say, hey, there's actually, bringing this to the practical, is it challenges us to say, what are we doing to intentionally identify other potential leaders, not just the ones that rise to the top. Yep. If we pull the cream off the top, that's all we're going to get. We actually got to go dig deep and say, all right, what qualities, what characteristics are we actually looking for in leaders that are going to be successful here? And some of them are, they're hungry, they're humble, yep, they're transparent, they're teachable, they're not just amazing communicators and magnetic from the outside and everybody wants to be their friend. There's more to that than just some of those elements. But.
Yeah, I think another thing we talk about is, sometimes, not always, somebody who's extremely good at communicating and getting stuff done and all the attributes of leadership. But if you look at them, they're really good at doing that themselves. And there's not a lot of fruit past them that's happening. So they walk in the room and they could probably get more done than anybody in the room. And that's a great thing. But I call them high-level single contributors, meaning they're very good at something, and that doesn't automatically convert into, I could shepherd and lead a group of people to do great things. Right. I may not have any of the skill set that helps other people run really fast and get a lot of stuff done. I'm really good at doing that myself, but the way I'm wired or my passions aren't about other people succeeding in those areas. And I think real quickly we grab people and go, you're amazing. I'm going to put you in.
Yeah, you can get stuff done.
And it's like, I'm going to put you in charge of this. And then it's like, oh my gosh, what happened? And it's like, you assume they were a leader just because they can get a lot of stuff done.
Yeah.
And leadership is about getting a lot of stuff done through other people.
Right.